right, got really quiet really fast. Did everybody get a cookie? Okay, make sure you eat all the cookies. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Terry Reesek. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for Visit Champaign County. I have been there for 5 years, and I know a lot of you in this room, but I also see a lot of faces that I don't know. So I hope that I get a chance to meet you before the end of the conference. Please come up and say hi so I can learn a little bit about you. We have 2 really fantastic panels happening today that I think are very relevant and timely, and I think really kind of showcase why we are an outside of ordinary community. So we're going to go through the panel. I have some questions for these lovely people, and then afterwards we will have questions, and then a short break before we move to our second panel. So our first panel is culture. Let's talk about it. I think one of my favorite things about this community is the diversity of this town. And I know somebody said when we were talking about what is outside and ordinary to you, talked about that there's something here for everyone. And there really is, and everyone means everyone. No matter where you're from, what you look like, what your sexual orientation is, we have something for you here in this community, and we're really proud of that fact. On your table, you have one of the postcards that talks about the number of languages that are spoken in our public schools here. It's over 60 languages, and that's incredible. When I think about the people that my kids are interacting with every single day at school, it makes me really proud because I know that they're going to grow up to be really well-rounded people because they have everything here. They have the world at their fingertips in this really small community when you think about it. So I'm excited to introduce some of the people that we have on our panel today that really kind of represent a number of people in this community. So we're going to start by having them say who they are and what they do, and then we're going to start with some questions. So Will, do you want to start us off?
Sure. That was pretty loud. Hey. So, as the screen says, Will Kiles from the Champaign County Black Chamber of Commerce. I've been the president for the chamber for about 3 years now. Basically excited about not only educating and advocating for African American businesses. We do a great job, at least I like to think that we do, in promoting and exposing and educating the diversity in our community.
Hello, Jasmine Roughton. I'm a 3rd-year doctoral student at the University in Human Development and Family Studies, and I focus on researching queer families. But I'm here to speak on behalf of the Uniting Pride Center here in Champaign County, here in Champaign, but it's for Champaign County. And that is the local LGBT community center, if you haven't heard of it. And I've been on the board of directors there for close to 2 years now.
Good afternoon. I'm Erin Schiller, Senior Assistant Director in the Office of International Student and Scholar Services here at the University of Illinois. We have the second largest international population of any U.S. Public institution, and our office provides programs and services, outreach, advocacy for our international community.
Hi, my name is John. I'm from the Spicy Tribe. I do the content marketing company targeting the Asian market. I born and grew up in South Korea, and I came to United States in 2008. And I graduated last year, Yobai, and it's been 1 year doing the Asian content marketing company. Thank you.
All right, so I think I'm going to start by picking on Erin because if you all don't know, next week students are back. So go to campus and eat everything on Green Street before they all get here. But I want to start with Erin because as she and I were just talking before we got started, the international students are already in town. So if you want to talk a little bit about kind of what the makeup of that is. I know we don't have numbers yet for this year, but can you talk about what to expect with the international students here this year?
Absolutely. So we are welcoming our new international student population starting this Thursday. That's when international student check-in begins. I can give you our numbers for last year, and it'll give you an idea of what we're expecting this year. In fact, this year we might be expecting maybe a 3 to 5% increase over our numbers from last year. But last year we welcomed 3,415 new international students, And our total international student population was 10,545 here on our campus. Our students are comprised of 113 countries from around the world. The top 5 countries are China, India, South Korea, Taiwan, and Indonesia. And I also don't want to forget our international scholar population as well. So our scholar population is made up of our international faculty and staff members who are here serving on our campus. We've got about 1,178 as of last year. And we've got 31% of our working and researching scholars work in LAS, and engineering, 25% and 18% in administration here on our campus. And our international scholar population comes from China, India, South Korea, Brazil, and Canada. Those are our top 5 countries represented. So our total international population last year was 11,723. Of that number, about 400 to 700 at any given time are here with families as well. So they've got their spouses or their children here in the community with them.
That's a really big number. I know we've worked with your office several times on trying to get them out into the community when they're here. Can you talk a little bit about the experiences that they're looking to have here in addition to what happens on campus? What are they looking for when they're not studying?
Absolutely. So we worked with you on this really awesome program. It was called Follow the Farmstead. And so we had a couple of buses of international students and scholars and their families who went to local farms in Champaign County just to have that experience of seeing what it was like to visit a farm and even meet some farmers. Just a unique, all-American experience is what our students and scholars have told us that they're looking for. They want to get to meet locals. They want to see what it's like to live in central Illinois and what is it that's unique about this area. What opportunities do they have to just have a totally different experience that they wouldn't experience anywhere else in the world. Now, I've got John here. And, he can tell you from that actual experience because he was one of our students just a couple of years ago. So, I can tell you from my experience advising students and what they've told me, but it's also nice to, if you get the chance, to talk to someone from another country, just to ask them, what are you looking for in, with your time here in Champaign-Urbana?
So we do obviously have a lot to experience here, not only just, from the agriculture side, which we have found to be very successful with international market, but we have a lot of different restaurants, a lot of arts and culture. We have some fantastic attractions and museums to go to. John, what advice do you have to kind of reach these markets from these businesses and attract that demographic in? Because obviously there's a lot of students here that are ripe to explore the community.
So, for me, for my understanding, actually, my brother just visited me from Shanghai because he living in Shanghai, and then I figured out he was watching everything, because he lived in Seattle 15 years ago, and then he was surprised. Oh, Starbucks has a drive-through, and then he was surprised and everything. So the first thing is observation that I recommend, because I'm currently working with the MIGA in downtown Champaign. So I do their social media and then the Facebook marketing. So the first thing that I did is observation at the bar. So I stayed 1 week to see the people, what they do, and then understanding about their culture and everything. Then I define their their behavior, psychographic and etc. And then I figure out MIGA has a lot of people who travel to a lot of different countries. Then I started making the copyright, starting with an unforgettable culinary journey. So that was our copy, and then to attract more people, understanding their culture, and then starting with a small thing say hi in Chinese, hi in Korean, then they will feel more comfortable with
That's great. Yeah, Will.
I agree. I actually took a business tour around the country and did some things and had some interactions with some international students or people in general. And I found that the more that I understood about their culture, even though I didn't necessarily speak Chinese or the language that they were speaking, the more that I could connect to them, I found that the more receptive I was to them, particularly when it was time to do business. I think it's the same way in the African American community when you start thinking about the observation piece, but African Americans in general, I guess what I'm trying to say is when you know your demographic and you understand it and what to do and what not to do, and that you understand that each demographic is unique, but then there are some common similarities. I think that's a great way to bring that attraction.
Yeah, and I kind of want to harken back to something that Carrie had said. As business people and as marketers, we know our story, and we're kind of talking to ourselves sometimes, but if we don't know who our actual customer is, we can't really talk appropriately to them. So Jasmine, maybe you can talk a little bit. I know everybody in this community thinks they're very welcoming and open to all in the community, but what are some of the things that we should know so that we actually are walking the talk or walking the walk?
Yeah, so I think that's a really great question because it is pretty common where businesses or certain organizations think that they're pretty affirming of LGBTQ identities, and once they come to a workshop, they realize, oh, hell, I wasn't doing that. So like certain things you can be mindful about, especially with maybe advertising or marketing or something you put on your social media, is just basic things, being mindful of language, pronoun usage. If you're hosting an event or doing something that is very gendered, like strip out that gendered language. Like someone had brought up to me once like one of those like father-daughter dances, and I think one of the park districts, stripped out that language. Here, you're just doing things like that make it known that, okay, well, they are more inclusive. I can take my family there. If I'm in a same-sex couple relationship with children, I can do that and feel comfortable there. So it's small things like that, but also just thinking about how you're representing, what clientele are you drawing in with some of the images you're using. So put a family on an advertisement that isn't just a cisgender heterosexual couple with kids. Have two moms, have two dads, have a mixture, and you do that with other things as well. You don't just show a white family, you show a multicultural family. So just being mindful about some of those things can really draw in and make people feel like they can come to your business or organization and feel comfortable and welcome there. Some of the small things like that.
Excellent. And Will, do you have similar thoughts specific to like the African American community?
Yeah, I think that, like I said in the beginning, not to really repeat what everyone else said, it really is about the understanding of the community, and to know that from a diversity standpoint, particularly from an African American standpoint, a lot of times what happens is there's a level of discomfort, and so when you have that icebreaker conversation, the first thing that people want to do sometimes is quote unquote, well, act black. Well, what does that mean? So if understanding that our business community is just like any other business community, and the ultimate goal is to drive revenue, to serve customers with great customer service, and to be able to expand the business and grow into other areas.
Excellent.
And just to add on that, I think it's important too, like you had mentioned, for marketing to really align with the actual company or business, because sometimes that is very separate. So one way you can do that, to better provide for the LGBTQ community, is don't just say you're open and affirming, or don't just say that you're, non-discriminatory against it, but require mandated trainings for all of your staff. Because if I'm at a bar and I hear someone call me a dyke, I'm not going to come there regardless of if you're business or social media says that you're open to the community. You know, you need that training throughout the whole system, not just at the top.
And I think there are a lot of programs for that. I know our organization joined the IGLTA, which is the International Gay Lesbian Travel Association, because we, as an organization, we find it's really important to make sure that the community knows that Champaign County is open to all. But that doesn't mean anything. You know, we can put it on our website that we're a member, but we actually have to do it, and we have to live it every single day. And I think the same goes for all communities that we kind of represent here. And so we need to kind of learn how to make adjustments to our business so that we can really do it every single day. I attended a China Ready seminar in the spring before heading out to Portland for a conference where we're specifically drawing Chinese tour operators here, which is a really big market for us. And I learned a lot of information of things that we should be doing differently to accommodate these groups a little bit more. And John and Aaron, maybe the two of you can talk about, you know, what are some of those special needs that, you know, these groups have, and how can our businesses be more prepared? Yeah, so how could, you know, some of the businesses be more prepared specifically for the Asian market? Are there any special things that they should be doing? For example, one of the things that I learned is that Chinese visitors expect to have a tea kettle in their hotel room. You know, what sort of accommodations should be made for them when they're coming to town?
So what I tried whenever I meet foreign people when I travel to the new city is like say hi in their language, and then they will feel more comfortable, and then they will be really surprised, especially for I think like Korean and Chinese. So when I say like ni hao in Chinese to the Chinese student, then I see they are smiling, and then like they talk about their culture, like they starting talking about their food, and then they're like living like air environment like that. So
Yeah. And Aaron, I know you had mentioned that a lot of the international students have their families with them for at least a part of the time that they're here. So what are their families doing during the day while they're off, you know, while their students are off at school?
Well, it really depends on several different factors, one of which is their immigration status. Some dependents are allowed to work in the community or apply for work authorization. Some statuses allow for students or for individuals to study, but then there are some visa statuses that don't allow for either of those things. And so you've got families who are looking for ways that they can get out into the community to have a good time and to you know, still have a good experience here. We do a lot of referrals to Champaign moms. Hi, Laura. We also do a lot of referrals to the park districts, but other businesses. I mean, if different businesses contact us and they say, hey, you know, we've got this going on, it's family friendly, well, we might put that on our International Spouses Facebook group and let them know about it. Even like small private tours of small businesses can be really popular.
So is that, you know, the best ways that we have, you know, all these great organizations in the room? Should they reach out to your program and see how they can work more collaborative with you?
They can, yeah, they're welcome to do that. It's, you know, we can put together kind of a list, maybe share more on our social media end than necessarily on our website, because we can't see that, we can't come across like we're promoting one particular business, so I do have to just throw that out there. But yeah, I mean, we really are trying to identify ways that we can get folks out into the community so that they're really enjoying their time and they're not becoming isolated. I think that's one concern that we have for our international families is isolation, and that can happen with language barriers or cultural barriers. But this really is a welcoming community, and so whenever we have the opportunity to share that and show that, we definitely want to do that.
Excellent.
One other point I just want to say for businesses, one thing that businesses can do is to also explain your transportation options. We found that that's a big hurdle for our international families, many of which don't have cars with them. And so they are definitely utilizing our MTD bus system. So whenever you have the chance to say,